just going to take a little quick video while I'm on the road. I'm using my Topo Chico box as an elbow rest. Check this out. I'm a big fan of Topo Chico. Oh, it's Tamara's Blodgett, the cheating carnivore. I'm a big fan of Topo Chico because it doesn't have false sugars, and I live in Mazatlan, Mexico, about 5 months a year. And so that's what they have there. And I really like it a lot. It's not as inexpensive here in the States. I also like their practice of putting it in glass bottles. I would rather not have consumables stored in plastics. I think it's unhealthy. And I was brought up that way. So it's not like a new thing or whatever. But I wanted to talk about pooping. And before I get into it, I just want to preface this entire thing with I have Hashimoto's, and that is an autoimmune disorder where the body attacks the thyroid, its own thyroid, and it's autoimmune in nature, and it falls under the large umbrella of autoimmune. And given that, one of the huge features of Hashimoto's, how it affects our system, is it can make people super constipated. And for me, it caused heart palpitations and constipation and intolerance to cold. Now, you probably want to know, do you want me to just give you the facts right now, the bottom line? Because if there's any guys watching, I know that's what they'll want, because I'm a mother of 4 sons. I know how to communicate with men. The bottom line is, does carnivore correct that? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You can put your thyroid issue in remission by eating carnivore. Period. Now let me talk about my anecdotal N=1 self-experimental journey with that. That is why I went carnivore, okay? I went keto in July of 2017, July 15th of 2017. And I remained keto with a lot of like dirty keto and lots of fasting and things like that for about 3 years. And my numbers for my thyroid would go up and down. They'd kind of go out of the normal range. They'd go back down into the normal range. And I wanted them to stay put because I could tell when my thyroid numbers were bad, because I would feel bad. I would have a general sense of malaise. My system wasn't working well. I was having all kinds of trouble, just baseline stuff. Staying warm, my heart working properly, my digestion. I had really bad acid reflux. And when I was on keto, that wasn't going away. So I was like, what's happening here? So what I discovered was that there was a gal on Facebook, and I don't remember her name or anything, and I was looking into carnivore because it was interesting and seemed really crazy and extreme to me, because I was like, how could I ever give up avocados or butter lettuce or, nightshades? I love nightshades. Well, I started looking into it, and then there was a gal, I happened to mention that I had Hashi's, and she said, oh, mine didn't go away until I did 0 carb. And I was like, really? And she said, yeah. And then she said, yeah, if it flies or swims or moves, I can eat it. And that really struck me as weird. But I was like, okay, well, I'm willing to entertain ideology outside the box. So I was like, oh, I'll try that. I went ahead and looked into it thoroughly. And what I found people that had autoimmune stuff like rheumatoid arthritis, Parkinson's, which is an autoimmune, neurological problems, correcting and curing and slowing all those things just when they were just eating animal kingdom. And I was like, oh, maybe somebody's onto something, I thought to myself. I started in May of 20, 0 carb, and I instantly gained weight. And it took a long time for me to figure out what my system works best on. And there's lots of people that have, there's lots of people that have an abundant amount of success not tracking. Calories just don't matter. And they have an abundance of luck with not counting calories and not paying attention to macros at all. They just eat until they're full and they move on. And I appreciate that. I am just one of those people that's naturally curious, and I like to have points of reference. I use the app Carb Manager, and that helped me. I was able to see when I lost weight or when I felt better, what I was eating percentage-wise. And that's when I discovered that I needed less protein and more fat to feel best. I need to have 160 grams or greater of fat each day to be regular. And it doesn't happen instantly. Like, I have to stay that way for a couple of months, and that's when I really see correction happening. Bio individual, I need a huge amount of fat. And it's probably because my maternal side has this problem with autoimmune. And we, as a family, need to just be consuming more fat than, say, just the regular Joe walking down the street, just like Hubs can't do dairy at this stage. And he's been clean eating for a while. So I presume that Hubs needs raw dairy, and that's what he has to have. And ancestrally speaking, my people were some of the first in the world to have dairy. So I don't have any problem with dairy. And he has more of a problem, and he has people who are later. So that's my speculation there. I have to have a lot of fat to be regular. And I have to have a lot of fat to put my Hashimoto's in remission. And it has to be consistent. I can't have like some fatty days during the week and then lean days. That doesn't work out for me. All my days have to be fatty. And if I'm to go off the rails and have something dumb like, chocolate, dark chocolate, or keto stuff, low carb, pumpkin cake, or really go off the rails and have French fries 2 or 3 times a year or something like that. It actually has to be 2 or 3 times a year. It can't be once a month. So I've found my sweet spot. If I want to wreck stuff and go off the rails, it has to be very unusual. I have to be a 99.9% carnivore. And if I want to have, 4, 5, 6 meals that are not animal kingdom, they have to be spread out in such a way that I'm not harming my system. Because I don't want to go back to constipation. I don't want to go back to absolute cold intolerance. I don't want to go back to ugly rosacea and ugly acne. I don't want to go back to heart palpitations. I need to stay on the straight and narrow almost all the time. The quick answer is yes, you can put your Hashimoto's and your autoimmune shit in prison, but you have to be the warden. You've got to be the one that says that pretty much all the time, no matter what, you're going to abstain from the plant kingdom. And the big problems in the plant kingdom for me are nightshades, which are like tomatoes, potatoes, peppers, that kind of thing. Sugar, refined sugar is absolutely a problem, and I'd have to assume fruit might have to be looped in that. I don't know. I haven't experimented with fruit, and I'll tell you why in a second. Yeah, so sugar, nightshades, and gluten. It's even in soy sauce. I get gluten-free soy sauce if I'm going to have it. I'm not a big proponent of soy. I think soy is a testosterone killer, and men should never have it. That's what I think. But anyhow, that's what you need to do. And just know that gluten and sugar and nightshades are out for you forever if you're a Hashi's person. Don't even bother with them. Don't cheat. Don't bother with them. If you have a sweet tooth, use heavy whipping cream. It's usually a fat thing. It's usually your fat screaming to be fat. And you can have a big bunch of whipping cream and you can get through that. That's kind of my tale on pooping. And there's a gal I follow, her name is Stephanie Keto Person, and she says you should be going every day. And I don't agree with that, but you should be going about every other day. And I have a crutch that I use when I'm in these phases of my body, when I'm transitioning back to pure carnivore again. It's a product I use to help me in the interim until I've been having enough fat consistently for enough time that my body goes back to regular function. And it's called Swiss Chris, and I'll link it down below. I'm not a sponsor for them. I'm too small and insignificant for anyone to care about my channel yet, except for my lovely subscribers, who I appreciate very much. The only thing I've found that will work with me, that's benign enough for me not to worry about what it's doing to my system. And there's been people that have been on Swiss Chris as a regular regime for 20, 30 years, and they've never had any negative consequence. I have a personal friend that's been on for 20 years, and she's in fine shape. And she's just, I'm a super hard case. Like, I'm one of those people that if I don't keep on a regular regime, I can go up to 14 days and not go to the bathroom. And then you're looking at toxicity on a level that's not appropriate. And it's my Hashimoto's. Not everybody has that with Hashimoto's to the degree that I do. I just happen to be, like, I don't have a lot of hair loss with my Hashimoto's, and most people have that. They also have an energy problem with Hashimoto's. I don't happen to. That's not what my problem is with Hashimoto's. My problems are heart, digestion, irregularity, and skin. Those are my problems. So that's what I do. But I think that you're safe if you have Hashimoto's or rheumatoid arthritis or osteoarthritis or any skin issue whatsoever, be it acne because you're 16 years old, or any hormonal thing of any kind. Go carnivore. I'm not going to do what the gurus say and say, do a steak challenge, though I learned a lot on that. Do 30 days. You need to do 90 days. You can do anything for 3 months. Give it 3 months. Eat your favorite foods. Everybody loves steak. Everybody loves cheese. Everybody loves whipping cream. Everybody likes chicken drumsticks and pork chops and bacon. Eat your favorite animal kingdom foods, and it will be hell for the first 2 weeks. Not even gonna lie. I mean hell. And then once you can get past the first couple of weeks, you're golden. It took me 3. I was on keto. I felt so terrible. But I think most people are good under 2. And just keep on the straight and narrow. And whenever you feel like you're going to go off the rails and you want candy or you want that thing, have whipping cream. Keep it on hand. Get the sugar-free canned stuff in the beginning just so that you can get through. The gurus wouldn't say that, but I'm not a guru. I'm just a regular chick that has a super busy life. And I use what I can, even if it's a little dirty on the edges, so I can do the majority really clean. That's where I'm at. So do that. And I like the Ready Whip in the purple can, the zero sugar one. It's been a lifesaver for me. Whenever I feel like I want to cheat or do the wrong thing, I can have that and I'm okay. I just want to wrap this up by saying you can do it. You can do anything you want to. And if you have autoimmune, if you have neurological, if you have hormonal stuff, fertility problems, or postmenopausal stuff, do carnivore. Do it for 90 days and see where you're at afterward. There have been so many people that have done carnivore and they were going to do the 30-day thing and they stuck with it. They stuck with it. And one of the gurus I really like is Lily Kane. And she says a lot of her people quit carnivore. And the reason they do is because they've been too hard on themselves. They thought, if I can't be strict and perfect like Sean Baker or Kelly Hogan or one of those, decade-long veterans, I'm just going to throw in the towel. Don't do that. Don't be as strict. Do what you can so you can stay on it. You have to get to a point where the cravings are past and when you're starting to reap the benefits before you feel like it's worth it. So that's why I'm saying, I'm not going to say give up the full sugars. I'm not going to say do this or do that, because that's what got me to the point where I am now, where I can go months without eating anything. And I'm a real purist for the most part. But I've only been able to do that most recently when I found my soft spot and I was able to use some crunch type stuff. Well, why would I ever tell my following and say, you've got to be this way? You evolve in your journey. You do baby steps. You get to a point where you think you can. That's what it is. I love you guys and thank you and for liking this video, and please smash the subscribe button. Give me more of a following so I can continue to make these little impromptu videos in my car.